All right, you're welcome back. It seems that the ruling APC will listen to the yearnings of Nigerians on restructuring the federation as its Committee on True Federalism in its report to the immediate past National Working Committee, that's the NWC, had made recommendations on 24 items to balance the federation.
Now, some of these items are the creation of states, merger of states, delegation principle, fiscal federalism, devolution of power and resources between the state, federal and local governments, federating units, form of government, independent candidacy, land tenure system, local government autonomy, power sharing and rotation, resource control, types of legislature, state constitution, minimum wage, judiciary, state realignment, and border adjustment, among others. A list goes on.
Yes, indeed. And according to the party, a practical approach to implement the report is being considered by the federal government. Okay, we do have with us a member of the APC and a public affairs analyst, Japheth Odesonya. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Japheth. Nice to see you.
Good morning, my pleasure.
Yes.
Okay, well, this restructuring business.
I like the way you think. Restructuring business.
Interesting.
Yeah, to a lot of people, the APC government is taking too long in, coming up with restructuring that it promised in the first place during the campaigns. Why is it taking this long?
Yes, thank you. I think one must also, in all honesty, pity the APC.
Pity.
Yeah, pity,
Okay.
Coming from the background that there are factors, that has made the fundamentals elusive to Nigerians in the Nigerian political context.
And what would that be?
Such factors as psycho-cultural factor, structural factor itself, and institutional factors. Psycho-cultural denotes that the military usurpation of the power process,
Okay.
which has made impossible, almost impossible, competitive, open, transparent political contests, in the polity. So that makes it pitiable in that aspect. For some of us, I am in APC on the strength, and upon that strength alone, that the needful must be done in Nigeria, and we need to restructure. That attracted me to the campaign for Buhari. And I still stand by that. So it gladdens me that we are talking about this now. However, whether it is later, but the important thing is we are talking about it, and we cannot shy away from that reality. That if we fail to do this, then we must be running away from nature. Nature itself harbors heterogeneous nature of itself, that people cannot be caged. There is variety in nature. The way I see it is not the way you ultimately must see it. And we must accept those, realities. That we have our culture, we have our varied backgrounds. And to that extent, we can only progress as a nation if we put all these factors into context and appreciate them. We must restructure Nigeria.
Okay. When you say you pity the APC, if you pity a government, then I wonder how helpless the citizens will be.
That will be.
It's a very mind
serious business.
Exactly.
That's food.
But the point is, the government is the most powerful institution anywhere. In fact, in some political sphere, it is said that the only thing the government cannot do is turn a man to a woman and turn a woman back to a man.
Right.
Otherwise, any other thing the government has. So the APC now has the power, as far as within the Nigerian context, to change the psychosocial or the one you talked about, in fact, the three issues you mentioned, all the factors that are holding that made you pity APC. The APC now has the powers to do them, and for 3 years, he didn't really show the sign of doing them until we are here to another election year. So a lot of Nigerians feel that the timing is not genuine.
I want to agree with that. And I will be very frank about that. We have come too late about that. And I am also happy that at least we are discussing that. When the president came and openly said he would discard the earlier conference organized by its predecessor, no one said that wasn't a good idea. Setting up committee to look into the issues of restructuring, and we seem to be shying away from, the fundamentals. If the APC wants another revalidation, and when I say revalidation, that is re-election.
2019.
Because that is the sovereignty of the people, and we are fast approaching that. It means that you must be consistent with the political belief of the electors, and that is why APC cannot run away anymore. Edmund Burke, 1774, in his eloquent, address to electors in Bristol, because democracy is long. He said the representative must be consistent in his view, and not only in his view, he must be consistent with the views of the electors. The moment he dissociates from the political belief of the electors are not only entitled, they are duty bound to throw away such government or representative. They deselect.
Yeah.
And we are getting to that process. So APC does not have any option than to toe the line
so that you will be deselected.
The people have
so
the power.
Should now that be the driving force behind the APC going the way of restructuring, or the fact that the APC has actually come to realize that restructuring is the way to go? Because, number one, when you hear the APC say that, look, restructuring is not Nigeria's problem, that the problem really is misgovernance, wrong governance, by governments down the line and all of that, putting the blame behind those who have come before them. It almost gives you a sense that the APC is really not ready to move forward with this whole idea of restructuring. And then again, the APC has asked the question, what kind of restructuring are we even talking about?
A very funny scenario. You see, the driving force is the people. You see? And the time has come to emphasize this. Democracy is not about the ruling party or the ruling class. Democracy is a virtue, and it is about the people. To the people belongs the sovereignty.
Yeah.
So the driving force, the power behind it now, is the people. And I want people to seize this opportunity. It is not about goodwill or favor that APC is now sloganizing it. No. It is because the reality is, if it fails to do it now, power will be hijacked from the ruling party, because power belongs to the people. To say that those shouting restructuring
accidental heroes,
it is wrong. It is wrong. We must be frank. The truth is incontrovertible. Panic, ignorance, malice may deride it, but it is the truth. So we are at that point, and it's a crossroad. The APC does not have any other option than to toe the line of the people of Nigeria. And in doing that, we will have, acceded to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. And that is the whole essence of democracy. Pluralism, democratic culture, liberal democracy, competitive, contestation of ideas, and resolution of such. That is democracy. Anything devoid of it would be chaotic, because it won't be democracy anymore.
Okay. Well, initially when the 2014 confab was being put together, the bulk of what makes the APC now, the ACN at that time said they weren't going to be part of it. But eventually, all that, the conference went on and they had their report and all of that. This government, even if they have to implement recommendations of the 2014 confab, which we made reference to earlier, which has many of these issues inclusive, you certainly have to go back to the issue of the Constitution amendment. And we've been watching and following how the National Assembly, on one hand, has been against the executive, or the face-off, the seeming face-off between the two arms of government, even though APC has the majority in the National Assembly. How feasible is it going to be for the APC to handle or to actually restructure, if it actually even means the idea of restructuring?
The feasibility is open, you know, by popular consideration. And a political party that is not ideologically bonded or conjoined is not a political party. And we are facing that challenge.
All right.
So don't be surprised that even within the party, those who are in the legislative wing seem not to, you know,
totally
be in
agree.
tandem with the executive. That is not an aberration. But it further confirms that there is a lack of ideological, you know, commonness. However, because the need for restructuring is popular, and it is the reality, I do not see any problem coming. Because look at these people. They know what, except when they want to pretend. An average legislator knows what the constituents want, and they want to be re-elected. They won't go against the demands of the constituents. Everybody has come to that stand. We have to restructure Nigeria.
Okay,
the vicious circle of
we keep
poverty.
Echoing and re-echoing restructuring. How do you restructure multi-ethnic, multi on every front society,
multi-complex
like Nigeria? And where do you even start from? Should it be a gradual thing, or should it be one fell swoop and we wake up one morning and government says, look, okay, now we want to restructure this country and this is how we're going to do it right now?
It has to be procedural.
Okay.
We can't just wake up one morning. You know, it has to be process-led. It must be people-driven.
Where should that process begin from then, if we agree that it should be process-led?
It begins from the government and the National Assembly. Are you getting it? At the level of PRONACO, you know, we have suggested this. We have even come up with a draft constitution. You know, let every representative go back to his constituency to go and, you know, gather the demands again.
But we have gathered these demands over and over again.
That's why it's
too many times beyond that we cannot. 2005, 2014, and
Beautiful.
there have been previous conferences before that. It has cost Nigerians a lot of money, and Nigeria a lot of money, and time, and you know, and all
energy,
whatnot, and
resources,
energy. Yes,
it is because of the underlying deceits from the ruling class, the elites, who profits. They have conspired to profit, to transact. You know, Professor Laelu, they calls it transaction in freedom. Wow. You know, realizing that the vicious circle of poverty and underdevelopment is a strength in the hands of the oppressors and the ruling elite. They feel where we can as well continue. Look at what is happening even in our party. As good as the idea of direct primary is, there seems to be deafening noise. Hocus pocus, hula baloos from the governors and some segments who feel that they must install their successors. It must be the people. So power is gradually getting away from the hands of the godfathers to the people who ordinarily and naturally must exercise power.
They own the power.
We have to get there, and that's where we're going. You see, the idea of restructuring, a lot of people do not even understand it. And we seem not to be helping the populace. Restructuring means that we rearrange, we redefine, we reprogram to bring about prosperity. People are too poor.
Like taking away power from the center to the
federating unit. You're shouting corruption. Why would we not be corrupt? the tendency to be corrupt is high in a situation, an organization where you have over-concentration of resources in an arm, where the federal government controls 52% of the resources. Where the federal government wants to tar the roads in front of my house, and he has not tarred the one in Abuja. There is a tremor in Abuja that has not been addressed. You want to, you see, a lot is wrong. So until we sit down, we cannot defeat poverty.
All right. The APC came up with a 10-man committee to look at this restructuring, and ironically, or coincidentally, or accidentally, or somehow, the governor of Kaduna State, who was against restructuring, became the chairman. Became the chairman or lead the idea of restructuring. And members of the committee are almost all politicians and all of that. We didn't see that engagement with the institutions, the agencies, the bodies that, like the NGOs, the CSO or the private sector. We didn't see all of those engagement and involvement, the labor unions, the women organizations, to talk about restructuring, to draft and craft that restructuring, if at all it is different from the report of the 2014 confab. So Nigerians feel that there is still political talk.
And, you know, we didn't see that happening, but they've come up with, you know,
24.
Because just like you said earlier, all those had happened. We had done that. And we ought to have left that plane, moved to another plane.
Because when it comes to listing all of those things,
we have
any
done
committee
those are
can
the
sit
lists
down.
that we have seen over and over and over again.
Anybody can sit down and list all of those issues.
The seats won't last forever. In Yoruba, we normally say, Ododoloma leke. Ododoloma. That is, the truth will triumph. Ododoloma leke.
Okay.
The truth will triumph. We are getting to that point.
Okay.
Ododoloma leke.
We're learning
See, it's good that this is happening. And I am only worried that if people think they can cajole the Nigerian electorate because election is fast approaching, so sing the song they like to dance to, and you think you can go away with it, I tell you, the spirit of democracy will naturally come back to haunt the perpetrators. It's a question of time, and that is why you have periodic revalidation. Just for 4 years, Abi, then we'll come back again. Because you have told us this, and we voted on the strength of that. Now you are not addressing it. Okay, it's good that you are addressing it now. You know, I am not speaking more like a party person, but I'm speaking like an average Nigerian, and that should be the spirit of democracy. If you promise to do this, you must do it, and that is the strength and the essence of oration in democracy. You must address the people, because we cannot see your hearts. What we can hear is, you know, words coming from you, and we hold that as a bond, you know, against you. So if you tell us you will do A, B, C, and you fail to do it.
Okay, should we start? Let me ask you the question again. Should we go back to the Constitution that says we the people? Is that where we need to begin this restructuring from? Because really, it is a given that it was a document given to us by the military. Yes. And this unitary system, anyway, came about as a result of the military. So how do we now remove extricate ourselves from the stronghold of the military so that we can begin to move forward?
Yes, the Nigerian 1999 Constitution,
yes,
is an incendiary political tactics, you know, from the military. No doubt about that. But having seen that, even within the context of its warpedness and flawedness, we can still operate, and we've been operating.
Can we build anything on that foundation?
We can. Because, after all, it is upon that foundation they gave us democracy in 1999. And it's going to 20 years. We've been operating upon that constitution. So we can do better. And we should stop deceiving people.
Okay.
The constitution is really not the material and twisting us. It is the political, the ruling elite. And until the people themselves galvanize themselves, mobilize themselves, you know, and chase these shenanigans of the ruling class, we may not have a headway.
All right. Okay. We have to leave it here now. We must thank you, Japhet Odesanya, for coming on the program. And thanks for your time as well.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.